Hey everybody, it's James Roguski. It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day in memory of all that have given their lives in service of our country. On Wednesday, we're going to have a court date about a lawsuit that maybe you know a little bit about, maybe you haven't. But I'd like to challenge the media to get the story straight this time, because when the court case was filed, they ran with a story that really had nothing to do with what we're fighting for in this lawsuit. Number one, the people of California have been ill-informed and actually misinformed by government officials with documentation that has been sent from the various county registrars. All of that information is on BernieSandersVideo.com/lawsuit. The facts are crystal clear. As just one example of the information that's lacking that we're talking about, I live in Los Angeles County, and this is the official voter information guide that we received. And there's a lot of good information in here. One of the things is the Voters' Bill of Rights. Now, there's many different things that you should know on here, but it's hard to know about the thing that's not on here, okay? There's information that's not on here. It's suspiciously and just egregiously missing. It doesn't say anywhere in the Voter Bill of Rights that you have the right to request a ballot to vote in the presidential election if you're a nonpartisan voter. So many people who look at this document look all the way through it, they get their ballot, and there's no place to vote for president because you're a nonpartisan voter. But you are allowed to request at the polls a partisan ballot, either for the Democratic, American Independent, or Libertarian presidential primaries. Do not write in your candidate of choice on any ballot. If your candidate of choice is not on the ballot, you do not have the right ballot. And writing in your presidential selection will not be counted. As part of the lawsuit, we hope that they would count that. We hope that they will. But as it stands right now, writing in your presidential choice on the wrong ballot is as good as throwing away your vote. You have the right, one of the rights on here, I'll have to look it up real quick, the right to get help casting your ballot, and the right to get the right ballot is always yours. Even if you get the wrong ballot and you look at it and there's no place to vote for president, you have the right to exchange that ballot for a presidential primary ballot. If you want to vote for a Democrat, you get the Democratic crossover ballot. Do not write in your presidential choice. That's not going to work. We've also recognized that trainers who have been training poll workers have not all trained them properly, and misinformation has been given. The most important thing to know is that when you go to vote, if you are a nonpartisan or no party preference voter, you have the right to request, in fact demand, that you receive a crossover ballot for the party of your choice, which can be either American Independent, Democratic, or Libertarian. You may or may not be asked by the poll worker as to whether you want one of these crossover ballots, but you have the right to vote in the primary election for president, and you should ask for one of those party ballots. It's your right, and don't allow them to deny you that right. We would really like for the media to tell everyone in the state that that is a simple fact. We also want everyone to realize that if you've already received a ballot in the mail, and it's not a partisan ballot where you can vote for president, you have to bring that ballot to the polls with you and exchange it, so that they will exchange the ballot that is not the right ballot with a ballot that you can vote for president. If you want to vote in the Democratic primary, you ask for a Democratic crossover ballot if you are a nonpartisan voter. If you're a Democrat, they should give you a Democratic ballot. The two things are different. A Democratic ballot and a crossover Democratic ballot, or a Democratic crossover ballot. They're two different things. They should give you the proper ballot. Do not settle for a provisional ballot unless you have failed to bring in the ballot that you received in the mail, or for some reason they cannot find you on their list as a registered voter. But a provisional ballot is not what you should accept, if at all possible. We also want everyone to know that there's a law in California that you can take off of work paid 2 hours at the beginning of your shift or the end of your shift on election day in order to go vote at the polling places. Now, there may be long lines, and if it takes you longer than 2 hours, you have the right to go and vote, but you can be paid for 2 hours if you have to get out of work in order to be able to do that. We encourage everybody to go to the polls early in the morning. They open at 7 a.m. Go early and give your boss, your employer, 3 days notice, which means you probably got to give them notice on Thursday. Your employer was supposed to put information posted in the workplace, letting you know a couple of days ago already that this was your right. So understand that this is absolutely your right to do. To everyone in the news media, would you please do us the favor of sharing this fundamental information about voter rights and the law so that the average person in California clearly understands what their rights are, what their privileges are, and what their obligations are, so that the people who go to vote are not disenfranchised. They can vote for whoever they want. I'm obviously a Bernie supporter. Vote your conscience, vote for the person that you want, but do not let anyone take away or disenfranchise or inhibit your right to vote. Take advantage of your voting rights and go vote on June 7th.